my name is Braden Wages, and we're at Malai Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you our house-made Sriracha sauce, something we started doing recently at the restaurant. It's similar to the Sriracha sauce you're familiar with, but it's obviously going to have a little more flavor because it's made fresh from scratch, and then we can avoid all the preservatives and chemicals that are in the regular Sriracha sauce you buy at the store. So it's a really easy recipe. It's definitely something you can do at home. We'll walk you through the steps. The first, most important part is the chilies. We use a red jalapeno or Fresno pepper as the base for most of the sauce, and you want to chop them up kind of like a medium chop. And what we're going to do is once they're all chopped up, we're going to marinate it overnight in like a brine sauce to bring out the flavor of the peppers. For this recipe, you need a pound of red jalapenos. And I did a lot of the chopping ahead of time. It's very useful in watching all of that. So there's a pound of peppers here, which is common in Sriracha, the same kind of pepper they used to make Sriracha. One thing we do differently here is we add Thai chilies. It gives it a little bit more spice. They look like this. They're smaller and pack a lot of punch. And so we put a half a cup of Thai chilies chopped up in the recipe as well. And then a half a cup of garlic. And you can just leave those, if they're just regular sized cloves, you can leave them whole. I just peeled those ahead of time. We add about a tablespoon of salt. And this is a cup and a half of vinegar. Just regular white vinegar has higher acid, 5% acid. Help break down and kind of spread the chilies, the flavor of the chilies. And then I add, because when you put it there, you can see it's not really submerged in the brine, so I add a half cup of water just to make sure it's all the way in there. And like I said, you want to marinate it overnight, which brings out the flavor of the chilies and kind of binds it all together. So I'm going to leave this overnight and we'll come back to it tomorrow. So after soaking all night, I have my peppers still here. You can see they've softened up a little bit. Both them and the garlic have softened up a little bit. And you can see some of the brine is kind of taking on the color of the peppers. And what you want to do next is just want to put it in a saucepan. Sorry. Missed one. You want to put it in a saucepan and just bring it to a boil and let it simmer for about 5 minutes. Really helps release the flavors of the pepper. So it has that kind of really smooth, creamy flavor to it. So we'll move it over here to the stove. It's important to leave it, bring it to a boil and then leave it simmering or kind of at a low boil for 5 minutes. So the overall cook time is about 10 minutes really. Okay, so I just pulled this back off the stove after boiling it for about 5 minutes, and you can see all the peppers have softened up. It's important to let it cool down just a little bit before we blend it, which is the next step. Because if you put it, when it's too hot in the blender, the steam will make it blow back up in your face and get Sriracha in your face. It's not fun. So, cool it down, and we use a Vitamix here at the restaurant. For those of you who are not familiar, it's pretty much the highest power blender, very high speed, which is essential to this sauce because you really want to puree all the seeds down to get a nice, consistent, smooth sauce. If you use any other kind of blender, it may take a little bit longer, and it may, beat up your blender because you can see it's fairly solid. I do have some water here on the side to aid it if it gets too chunky. Aid it to make sure it comes to a nice creamy consistency. I'll just kind of watch it as it's blending. We're going to blend it for about 4 to 5 minutes to really make sure it cycles through and breaks down all the seeds, like I said, into a really smooth sauce. So we'll give it a go. Okay, so it's been blending for about 5 minutes, and it's got a really nice consistency to it. Let's see, it's thick, it kind of coats the spoon here, which is good. You want it to have that kind of thicker consistency. I'll pour some so I can try it myself. Gotta make sure it's good, right? I like to eat it with tofu, crispy tofu is my favorite. It's good. You taste the peppers, but it finishes with that nice spice. That's delicious. Anyway, so we do bottle it here. We leave it on all the tables for you to enjoy your meal. This will last over a week in the fridge for you at home because of the vinegar. It's got a great shelf life to it.